Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen here in the Fenway. My name is Alan Collier. I grew up in the South, so my cuisine is very heavily influenced by Southern culture. And today we're going to be making red beans and rice. Red beans were typically made on Mondays, eaten on Mondays because people wanted to use their leftover ham for seasoning of it, the ham hock or ham slices. And it was also done on wash day because it requires little or no watching over. So you can put it on the burner, go do your wash and come back and you'll have a delicious dinner waiting for you. So it's very simple, very deceptively easy. Just start your pan heating up a little bit. Add 4 cups of water. Two cups of red kidney beans. That's a 16-ounce package there. I have rinsed those off and made sure there's no stones or debris in them. Teaspoon of vinegar, which helps tenderize the beans and takes care of the flatulence problem sometimes associated with beans. Here is half of a bell pepper. We're going to add the trinity now, which is, of course, onion, celery, and bell pepper. And it's done in 2-to-1 ratio, so it's twice as much onion as celery and bell pepper. So this is 1 medium onion chopped and 1 rib of celery chopped. And about a half of a medium-sized bell pepper. This recipe doubles very easily, triples very easily, so it can be frozen. So if you want to do all this chopping in the food processor, that works very well if you're making large amounts of it. And it doesn't have to be perfectly presented. It's going to be a stew. It's going to cook down, and it doesn't matter. Next, we add a half a cup of Crisco, some sort of vegetable shortening, tablespoon of black pepper, tablespoon of salt, two bay leaves, 1, 2, and 4 sprigs of parsley, just whole. Drop them in, give it a stir, and this is going to come up to a boil, and it's going to boil for about 1.5 hours until the beans start to break, and you can recognize when that happens. Every once in a while, keep your eye on it, make sure it has enough water in it, but that's generally not a problem. And we're just going to let this boil for 1.5 hours. I'll go do my wash, and I'll come back and see you then. It's been about 1.5 hours, and our beans are cooking. You can see that they're starting to break down just a little bit. A lot of the liquid has been absorbed in them already. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take out the bay leaves and the parsley. Another reason why I put the parsley in whole, it makes it easy to remove in one big piece. And we begin to add the rest of the spices. We have cayenne pepper, white pepper, black pepper, and the proportions of these ingredients are not real specific. It's a stew. You can add more or less if you like more cayenne, for instance. Paprika, 3 cloves of chopped garlic, thyme, oregano, salt, more salt. We'll taste this all along for seasoning for salt. Onion powder and garlic powder. Give that a quick stir as I slowly pour in another 4 cups of water. Make sure all these spices are dissolving nicely. This should be about enough. And the ham or bacon. I'm using 4 slices of smoked uncured bacon. If you want to make this vegetarian, you can leave it out because the lard that you put in at the top of the recipe gives it kind of a meaty flavor anyway, a rich flavor. But I like the bacon. There we go. Turn the heat back up on that and let it cook away. We'll be back and we'll make a roux for this and our rice. We're back almost to the end of this meal that we're preparing here. I'm going to start my rice now. I've got 2 cups of boiling water there. About a teaspoon of salt. In goes a cup of rice. Give that a quick stir, and when it comes back to a boil, we're going to stir it one more time, cover it, and leave it alone. In the meantime, I've got a screaming hot cast iron skillet here, with adding about 2.5 tablespoons of oil and about 3 tablespoons of flour. We're going to do the fast cook method of making a roux today. The roux we made for the gumbo took a long time because it was a big roux, but this is a small one, so this should go along fairly quickly. This is going to take maybe 5 minutes, and we'll be back and add it to our beans, finish up this meal. Roux done in this method takes just a short amount of time. You just want to make sure you keep your eye on it. And roux always go through various stages of color. You can make them as dark as you like, black almost. But this is probably a pretty good color for this. So we're going to stop the cooking of this now. And here's our roux, nicely browned. Kind of a dark caramel color is what I'm going for. And I'm adding this to the beans now. Watch out, there is a kind of nasty pop when you put this hot oil and flour in your liquid. And just a little bit of water to clean the foam off the roux pan. Don't want to waste any of that good stuff. And that gets poured in as well. Stir this up. And this is going to cook for about 10 more minutes while our rice is finishing up. And we'll be back to add the rest of the ingredients. At this point, you're just going to use your eye and see how thick you like this. And it should be a nice gravy consistency. I'm actually going to add just a little bit more water to it, maybe 1/3 of a cup. And you also add another 1/4 teaspoon of salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of gumbo filet powder. Gumbo filet powder is ground sassafras, and it's used as a thickening agent, and also has a very mild, subtle flavor that it imparts to the beans. And we're just going to let this cook for another 10 minutes till our rice is done. We're ready to serve this up. Well, the wash is done, and so are our red beans. Ready to serve with our rice here. Red beans and rice, Cajun style. That's about the consistency that you want to see it. Let me get a ladle here. And there you have it, Cajun red beans and rice. Enjoy.